we're back. Well, hi there. Fancy seeing you here. I just got a very exciting package that said it was going to arrive on Tuesday, and it's Friday. So this video is coming a little later than I would have liked, but it arrived, and I'm so excited to open it. Alrighty, let's get into the unboxing. Okay. Guys, you have no idea how excited I am right now. How do I feel? Oh boy. Oh wow, it's beautiful. Look at it. Yes, so I am about to dive into the very fascinating, apparently, world of Twilight. Oh wait, this is the wrong order. Can you tell I haven't read these yet? There we go. Twilight. So, Twilight took the world by storm when I was about in middle school, and for whatever reason, I didn't read them. So, here we are. I've never read these books before. This is gonna be my first time, so I'm gonna take you guys along with me, and we're gonna see what happens. It is sure to be a crazy ride. I watched the movies a few years ago with my brother because he's a big fan of the movies, but I honestly don't remember details like at all. I remember there's a girl named Bella, she falls in love with a vampire, and then there's Taylor Lautner and he's hot. And he's a werewolf. I remember that part. So if that's like a big twist, I'm definitely not going to be surprised by that. But if there's any other big twists that come along, oh my gosh, this is not the best shape, but it's Twilight, what can you expect? But if there are any other big twists, I will not see them coming because I've never read this series before, which I've said so many times already, but yeah. So I'm hoping to read these pretty quickly. I hope to, how long are these? The first book is like 400 pages and the rest are longer. So I don't know, how long is Breaking Dawn? That one seems pretty long, huh? Yeah, over 600 pages. So I am hoping to finish all of this in a week. That's kind of wishful thinking for me. I'm not the fastest reader, but who knows, maybe starting a booktube channel will give me superpowers, because apparently that's what it does for everyone else. So yeah, I'm kind of scared. I'm like, what is all the hype about? I feel like maybe I would have enjoyed these the most if I had read them in middle school like everyone else, or if not middle school, then just like a time when I was like really into this kind of thing. Who knows, maybe this will revive my interest in this kind of thing. And by this kind of thing, I mean like paranormal romance and vampires falling in love with me, even though there's nothing special about me. Okay, sorry. I need to let go of all my Twilight bias right now because there are a lot of you guys that love this series and I don't want to crap on you guys if I haven't even read it yet. So I'm kind of just want to see what all the fuss is about and maybe I'll fall in love with it. I kind of hope I do because there's a lot of you guys that love it and I'd love to love it with you. I use love a lot in those sentences. But yeah, so this is kind of a long intro. I don't really know how long intros are typically, but so I'm a little too excited to keep talking. So we're just gonna get into it. Huh. There's a verse from Genesis in here, which is interesting. It's about like not eating of the fruit of the tree, and like the cover is the apple, so I wonder if that has some significance to the story. I'm intrigued. Just read the preface. I don't usually read prefaces. It was more like a prologue. I don't know, but that was very interesting. I don't know what's happening, so. I am 12 pages in. Bella just arrived at the school for the first time and I really like how she says, no one was going to bite me. She's like, I'm so scared to go in. Oh, it's fine. No one's gonna bite me. I don't know why I got a kick out of that. But this is cute so far. I can see why people identified with Bella a lot. She seems like relatable, you know, like doesn't fit in, can't play sports, is like kind of normal looking, or like just doesn't look like she's from Phoenix. I was kind of related. She was talking about how like her skin is like super pale and like see-through, and I was like, same girl. Like, I should be tan. I live in a hot place, but I'm not. This is so sad. It's fine. Yeah, and I've spent some time in the Washington state and it is like super rainy, and so it's kind of funny to hear how she describes it as like an outsider, just like, oh my gosh, it's like always raining, and it's like not even hard rain, it's like just constant wetness for no reason. I was like, yeah, yeah. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go back to reading, but I'm enjoying it so far. So we just met the vampire siblings. We don't know the vampires yet, obviously, but Bella like sees them from across the way in the cafeteria. And already I like this book better than the movie because I specifically remember this part in the movie being so cringy and like so dramatic, where like they all walk in one by one. The girl is like, oh, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so. And I'm just like, I'm like, what in the teen drama is this? But already I'm like, okay, this is definitely not as cringe. I forgot like almost all of their names. I remembered Emmett and obviously Edward. Now that she's like describing them, I can kind of picture their faces in the movie, and it seems like the movie kind of got them right. The descriptions seem pretty faithful to the actors that they chose for all the parts. So that's neat. That makes it easier for me to picture them as a new reader. And like the way that she's like very subtly like watching Edward, and like Edward would like very subtly like looked at her for a second. It like was not too much. I remember like in the movie it was so zoom in on his face, zoom in on her face, and how their eyes are like interlocking and stuff, and I was like, so this seems like a lot more casual, like this could actually happen in real life. Like it's totally fine. Like they're not vampires. They're not weird supernatural creatures. I also didn't realize that the family thing was so complicated, because like I know, sorry, it was unfocused. I know that they're all vampires. That has been spoiled for me. But it's like their cover story for that is actually, I don't know if Jasper and Rosalie are actually twins. No, or maybe they're just the same age, and so they like covered that up with the lie that they are twins. But like their cover story or whatever, like they're foster kids, even though Mr. Cullen is like young and they're old and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, dang, they're like really trying to make this believable, and I don't know if it is, but it's interesting. And it's nice because in the movie I was like confused. I was like, wait, so they're like all adopted siblings, but they're all like dating? What? And so in this it is explaining like, no, they're not all related. They don't all have the same last name. So that's nice. I was kind of worried about that for a second. But anyway, it's getting good because Edward was just introduced. So I am excited to see how that's going to transpire. So she's sitting next to Edward in science class. I don't really remember why exactly this is happening, but he's like leaning away from her and stuff, like acting disgusted. First of all, it's very convenient that the one empty seat was by him, so yeah, I don't really remember why. Is it just because like he's tempted to eat her or like drink her blood or something? I'm not sure if that's why, or if like he just has a really heightened sense of smell because he's a vampire. I don't know, like I don't remember the details of what vampires are like in this particular universe. I don't really know why he's acting that way, but I guess we'll find out. So apparently Edward never acts that way. I thought that might have been like a normal thing if a human like sat close to him, he just got like really tempted or something. So maybe it has something to do with like just Bella. There's something just about Bella that's like especially tempting to him, which seems like something a paranormal romance author would definitely add in there for extra spice. So I think that's probably it. So I just finished chapter 1, and initial thoughts. Something unrealistic that I feel like is happening is like she's a newbie in the school and everyone is like staring at her, and I feel like the only way that that is believable is the fact that it's such a small town and like no one's ever new and no one ever like transfers to the school, I guess, except for the Cullens apparently, because I've been a newbie at schools a bunch of times and like that's never happened because like no one cares. And so I'm just kind of like, why do they care about the fact that she's a new girl? So that part feels very like YA. Oh my gosh, like everyone's staring at me and like I'm so insecure. So that part seems a little bit unrealistic. And talking about unrealistic in a book about a vampire who falls in love with the main character. So, you know what I mean though. Realistic for just like normal people behavior. But it's definitely tolerable so far. I mean, I've only read 1 chapter, but like I'm surprised with like the writing, and it's like it's not super cringy. Like it's actually fun, I guess, to digest, and it's like entertaining. Again, I've only read 1 chapter, so it has barely begun, but it's a cool beginning. It's a good beginning. I think it's enough to draw people in, which obviously it has done successfully for many others. So yep, I'm just gonna keep on reading and I'll update you guys later. Hey, so we're like 65 pages in, and I feel like there's one thing that's kind of cringe about this, honestly. It's like, it's so unrealistic how much attention Bella's getting from boys. It's like, are there no other girls, pretty girls that exist in this whole school? Because they're all like obsessed with Bella, and like 3 of them asked her out in one day. I was just like, That doesn't happen. If a boy is obsessed with you, it takes a lot of courage for him to say something, and they're not usually all obsessed with the same girl. So I was just kind of like, is she this much of a commodity? Is she this much of like a wonder at this school just for being a new girl that they're all just like, oh my gosh, Bella,
please come to the spring dance with me, even though it's supposed to be girls asking the guys out.
bro, what? Also, I just wanted to say there's a line here that was kind of cracking me up. It was just like, Bella is like chopping onions, and it says, of course he wasn't interested in me, I thought angrily, my eyes stinging, a delayed reaction to the onions. I wasn't interesting, and he was. Interesting and brilliant and mysterious and perfect and beautiful and possibly able to lift full-size bands with one hand. I just thought it was funny. Also, it's like the fact that she's not even like interested, like she's saying that she's not interesting, which like, I don't know, maybe that's a little bit true, but that makes it even more unbelievable that so many guys are into her. It just seems like a fanfic YN kind of thing that's like, oh, all the guys are obsessed with me. And it's just like not really super realistic. I don't know. So that part is just kind of cringing me out a little bit, kind of seeming like a teen girl's like dream. I don't know. So that's my thoughts. But other than that, like it's fine. It's a little bit slow right now because it's kind of dragging out like the beginning part of her and Edward's kind of like rivalry. I don't know what to call it, but it's just like she's like,
I just want to hit his car right now because I'm just so upset with him being like, oh, we shouldn't be friends. I'm upset.
so I don't know if she just wants to like drag that out a little bit longer before the romance comes in, so that's probably what's happening. But yeah, so it's just dragging a little bit, but it's not like uninteresting or like it's not like I want to put it down right now, so that's good. I at least want to get 100 pages in before I take any kind of break. Tonight I'm having dinner with my sisters. We're gonna get sandwiches and eat at a park, and possibly my brother is gonna be there too, and then after that I don't know what's gonna happen. So I don't know how much time I'm gonna have tonight to read, so I'm just kind of trying to get as much of it done as possible right now in this sitting. So I want to get at least 100 pages in. I would love to get more, but yeah, we'll see. Dude, what is Edward saying? He's like, it's better for us not to be friends. And then he's like, I'm tired of trying to stay away from you, Bella. And then he's like, okay, so will you go with me to Seattle? And she's like, okay, fine. And he's like, okay.
You really should stay away from me.
And then leaves. Like, Edward, these are such mixed signals. What is she supposed to do here? I am 6 chapters in on page 106, and there's so much drama. In the friend group, like, all the girls hate Bella and all the guys are obsessed with Bella, and I'm just like, that's a lot of drama for one small friend group. It kind of hilarified me that Bella faints at the sight of blood. I didn't expect that. I'm like, girl, you have another thing coming. Also, so they just went to the beach where they're at the Native American reservation, and Jacob just came into the picture, which is exciting, and I didn't realize he was so young. Like, he's like 2 years younger than Bella. So that's interesting, I didn't know that. And I'm just like picturing Taylor Lautner, and I'm just like, girl. Yeah, and he just told her the scary story about the werewolves and the cold ones, and how he was just trying to make it like really just seem like a legend, like a superstition. I know, isn't it funny that we still believe that the cold ones aren't allowed on our land because they're cold ones? Crazy. And I'm just like, Bella's about to figure this out. I'm surprised she hasn't already. I didn't know that it was such a surprise, or that it was such a like a hyped up, long-winded thing to discover what Edward was, because it literally says it on the back. About 3 things I was absolutely positive. First, Edward was a vampire. Like, it's right there. And usually the stuff on the back is like resolved, or is like happens in the first like 50 pages or so. And it's over 100. And she still doesn't know that he's a vampire. So that's interesting. Maybe this series is just so well known they just like don't even bother to not spoil everything. Which isn't great for people like me who don't want to get spoiled, even though I did watch the movies. I don't remember a whole lot. I don't even remember if this scene happened in the movies. I forgot very much. But I have passed the 100-page mark. It took me about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours, and so I think I have enough time to do like maybe get close to 100 more. I don't think I'll reach 200 yet, but I'll get close to 200 hopefully by the time I have to leave to get dinner. So yeah, I'll keep updating you guys. So I forgot to say, Bella's like hardcore flirting with Jacob. Not hardcore, just like not being subtle about it, and I was like, girl, what are you gonna do to this poor boy's heart? I mean, I already know, but like, why is she doing that? I'm like, I thought Bella was especially more likable than she is in the movies. Like, I was starting to like her, but like she did that and I was like, dude, that wasn't cool. He's just a 15-year-old boy that will, like, jump at the chance to please any cute girl older than him. Like, that's kind of not cool. I don't know. I just had that thought. Oh. Oh. Oh my goodness, how did he know? Oh my goodness. He's like murderous. He's like, please say something to calm me down. She's like, Dang, not gonna lie. A boy getting all like murderous over guys not treating me well kind of tickles my fancy. I forgot that Edward could read minds. For whatever reason, that completely slipped my mind from whatever I remember from the movies. Feels like that's kind of a big thing to forget. I don't know. But he was saying how he was hearing or seeing what the guys were thinking and how they were thinking of her, and it like made him super mad, and like that's how he tracked her. So that's interesting. I forgot that that was a thing. Okay, so I am about 40% through. I finished 9 chapters. I haven't begun chapter 10 yet, but the last line of chapter 9 is what's on the back here. About 3 things I was absolutely positive. First, Edward was a vampire. Second, there was a part of him, and I don't know how potent that part might be, that thirsted for my blood. And third, I was unconditionally and irrevocably in love with him. Very dramatic, very romantic. Oh my goodness. There is something to be said. I think it's interesting how ready so many of these like protagonists of romances, or I don't know, I was just reading some romance recently, and every time it's like a younger, actually I haven't read any like from older people yet, but I've just read a lot that are like high schoolers, and they're very quick to say the big L word. I just think it's interesting. It's just like, oh my gosh, I love him. I must love him. If I want to be with him, it must be love. Which, like, maybe it is. I don't know, who am I to judge? But it's just an interesting thing. There's also, like, the whole scene where he was literally talking about, like, eating animals' blood and reading minds and things like that. And she's just, like, so chill. He, like, Edward makes a comment on it, too. He's like, what? Why is this girl not? What's wrong with you? And she's like, yeah, okay, this is chill. I mean, I kind of had a theory, so I knew it was coming, and I'm just like, dang girl, I don't know that I would have this reaction. She's like, I don't care if you're not human, I want to be with you. And I'm like, I really wonder what it was like for people reading this the first time before all the hype. They were just like, what am I reading right now? Or if they were like, oh my gosh. I mean, apparently there was a lot of people that were like the second reaction, like, oh my gosh, can you imagine if my high school crush had been a vampire? I don't know. I feel like if I was reading this and I didn't know like all of the history, or like I didn't know the hype and like actually what it was about, I would just be like, what? What is happening right now? I don't know. But not to say that it's not entertaining. It's definitely entertaining. And the way that he swooped in to save her from those creepy guys was very swoon-worthy, I will admit that. And how he was just like murderous and like wanted to go back and kill them. I know it's bad, like I wouldn't want that in real life. That would be like a big red flag in real life, but in books, it makes me feel a certain way, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm probably gonna read for a few more minutes, but then I'm gonna go to dinner, so it might be a little while before I update you guys next, but just stay tuned. Hey guys, I'm back and I am about 58% through the book. I'm actually really liking Bella and Edward's relationship dynamic right now. I feel like their banter is really cute. I feel like they're healthy right now. I don't know if that makes sense. I never thought I would say that about Bella and Edward's relationship, honestly. Like, I don't know, especially with the fact that he's so like kind of crazy about the fact that her blood is just like so tempting to him, and how she's like respecting that and being like, is this okay? Is this okay? Is this okay? And he's like, yeah, this is okay. Oh, that's too much. Like all that stuff. I don't know. I feel like it's good behavior for a relationship, but I'm gonna keep reading. But I'm really pleasantly surprised by how much I'm enjoying this. admitting that he watches Bella when she sleeps. He like knew where the key was in her house, and she's like, well, how'd you know? And he's like, oh, I've seen you do it. What else is there to do at night? Boy, what? You know that's not normal, right? Bella's embarrassed that he heard her talking in her sleep, and I'm like, are we just gonna gloss over the fact that he was like just there while you slept? Are we just gonna like pretend that's normal? But that's interesting. So I'm gonna end off today on page 254, which is 63% through. I'm pretty happy with that. I think I'm gonna pick up the progress tomorrow, but I am enjoying it a lot more than I thought I was. Without the cringy cinematography and acting and all of that, it's actually a way more enjoyable relationship and story. So yes, very pleasantly surprised. I'm excited to find out what the rest of it is gonna be like. So see you tomorrow. Hey guys, so a lot has happened since we last spoke to each other. Hi, it's good to see you again. So I've read, a lot today. Not like a lot. I'm planning on finishing this right now. I read a good chunk this morning, and then I was out pretty much all day. I'm pretty busy on the weekends because it's the only day that like people are available to hang out. So I'm definitely gonna get a lot more time to read starting tomorrow, but I'm almost finished. So yeah, I'm gonna be finishing that up right now in this sitting, hopefully. I only have about like 70 pages left, like 50 or so pages left. Yeah, so a lot happened. James's coven came out of nowhere while they were playing ball. James got super attracted to Bella's scent, and now he wants to track her, and that led to just like a ton of crazy things where she has to leave Forks, and now she had to say goodbye to Charlie, which broke my heart, especially since she like used her mom's last words to him. I was like, poor Charlie, he's just going through the same thing again. I felt so bad for him. I like Charlie, but I didn't like seeing him get hurt like that, but I understand why. And it's also really sweet that the Collinses are like coming around Bella, even though she's not one of them. They see what a positive impact she's been having on Edward, and they just want to like protect her and be super selfless about it. It's been really crazy. I'm like, this is sweet. I guess the only thing I've noticed that's like kind of negative is just how quickly Edward and Bella are moving. I don't know, I guess every relationship is different, but it just feels like, whoa, they're saying, like, using language like, love, and like, I'll never leave, I'll love you forever, like that kind of language, and I'm just like, okay, you know you're 17, right? I just want to make sure, but like, you know, I don't want to judge because every relationship is different. But that's the only thing that's been making me just kind of like, okay, I think you need to chill out. But I don't know, everything else is sweet, and it's really cool to see the positive impact she's been having on Edward and how he's just really protective of her. It's really cute, and how he wants to just be a better person for her. I think it's sweet so far. Who knows what turns this romance can take in this story. It is a very long story. I'm reading this and I'm like, I remember there being plots in the movies, but I don't really remember what they were, and like, I'm just kind of like, what more is there to say in this story? I know all the drama with Jacob has to happen still, and I know they get married eventually, but like in between, like what's this? These are long books, like what's gonna happen? So yeah, I'm excited to see what's gonna fill all these pages. Like this is the shortest book, so all the other books are over 400 pages. I think Breaking Dawn is over 600 pages. So yeah, I'm like, when I see big books, I'm like, they must have a story to tell. So I want to hear what story they have to tell. Yep, I'm gonna just keep reading and maybe talk to you guys tomorrow. Hello again, guys. Good morning. It is Sunday morning, and I finished successfully Twilight last night, the very first book in this series, and I am so pleasantly surprised by this book. I don't know what I was expecting. Well, I do. I thought it was gonna be toxic, cringy relationship, weird plot lines, weird vampire stuff, cringy main character. I thought she was gonna be super bland and like no personality, but she was actually so funny and like witty, and And her and Edward's banter was actually really cute, and I was not expecting that, because my only experience from this is everyone's super like judgmental opinions about this book. They say it's like super cringy, but I think that's just because of the movie, and from what I could see of the movie, the cinematography could be really cringe. I'm sorry I keep using that word, but like that's kind of just what I think of when I think of those movies. I don't know. Maybe now that I've read this and I know the original source material, I can go back to the movies and be like, this is fine. It's characters and scenes that I already know and love, and so it might be a little bit less
torturous
to get through. Like I said, I'm like intrigued to see where this is gonna go, because it kind of feels like there was a good ending and like wrap up in this book. And so I did watch the movies, and I'm like trying to remember the actual plot lines, but the only thing I can remember is all like the drama. So I know there's drama, but like the books are really long. Are they just gonna be filled with drama? Because maybe that will be not a great experience. So yeah, I don't know. As for ratings, I kind of want to sit on it, because I want to see if the happenings of this book will like stick with me and I'll like keep thinking of them. And I also kind of want to compare them to the rest of the series and see if like this is better or worse than the rest of the series, if the other books just get better and better. I want to see. But yeah, so I'm kind of excited to get into New Moon. That is the second book is New Moon. Yeah, no idea what this is gonna be about really, because I couldn't remember if Edward and Bella got together in the second book or if they got together in the first book and stuff happened after that, but they already got together, and so I'm kind of like, oh, what more is there to be had in regards to their relationship? At least I know they do get married, but like what is on the way to that? I do want to say though, the end of Twilight there was a lot of action, and not like a whole lot, you know. There could have been more because they skipped the whole part where Edward and whoever else fought James because Bella was passed out. So it could have been more action. I don't know, maybe she didn't really want to put a whole lot of action in it because it's supposed to be just like a romance or something. But I do remember there being action in the later movies when I watched them. Again, I don't remember why, I just remembered there being some kind of action with vampires and all that. And so yeah, maybe she just wants to branch out in the other books into more action and less of just like relationship stuff, because that was the emphasis on this. And like the whole thing of her going back to Phoenix kind of felt just like more angst between her and Edward, like her being like, I need to separate from you guys, I need to keep Charlie safe, I need to blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of what it felt like. That's kind of the vibe that it gave me. Yeah, I don't know, maybe there will be more action in New Moon and the later books. But anyway, enough talking. I have a lot of thoughts apparently about this series. Who knew? But yeah, I'm just going to get right into New Moon. I will hopefully read a whole lot of this today. Like I said, I'm less busy. Yeah, I'm kind of less busy today. I'm probably gonna have to do some things, but I think for the rest of it, I'm just gonna be reading. And so hopefully I'll get a good chunk done of this book. So I will see you guys then. The first scene is her dreaming about her being like a grandma. And I was actually thinking of that too. Like, how is this gonna work out if she's not a vampire? Because at the end of the last book, she almost got turned into a vampire and they like prevented it because they didn't want her to experience that. And I was like, well, how else are you guys gonna be together? I know that she becomes one eventually. I don't remember when exactly, but I know that she becomes one eventually, and I'm just like, you can't put off the inevitable. If you want to be together without her getting old and dying someday, she has to be a vampire. So that's really interesting. So I'm guessing this is her birthday and she's like realizing, oh my gosh, I'm getting older. I'm gonna keep getting older until I look like that, like a grandma. So that's a very interesting, just makes you think. I don't know, it's deep. Hey guys, so I have made some progress in New Moon. I was just reading outside and it's the perfect early fall weather. It's like slightly breezy in the shade. It's super nice, but then like warm in the sun if you want to warm up. It's heavenly. Yeah, so I was just reading on my front porch and I got this far through. I am about 100 pages in, which I think is about a fourth. Is it? No, a little under a fourth, I would say, of the way through. I forgot to calculate it before I took this clip. Silly me. My cat is following me around everywhere today. Shadow, what's scaring you? Oh, it's my hoodie string. My hoodie string is very frightening to him. So Edward just broke up with Bella, which I did not remember at all from the movies. And so I was like, what's happening? I didn't realize that there was ever, it feels like a third act breakup, but it's in the second book, so it's not the third act. But it's like, it's just one of those things that's like, okay, this is just gonna put like a weird pause to the relationship that isn't like completely necessary. I don't know if that makes sense. Or it's just like, why are we doing this? Like, it's obvious that I don't know, maybe the author is trying to drag it out a little bit. I don't know what purpose this part of the book is going to serve for the rest of the saga. I mean, I don't like it. And it's kind of also making the story a bit boring a little bit. I've really been noticing the drag of page turning recently. I don't know, it's only been like one chapter or so with Edward gone and I've just kind of been like, she was doing that weird thing where she was like approaching the biker guys and like it gave her like a vision or whatever of Edward, and so now I'm pretty sure that she's just gonna like start chasing that. That'll be so, I just don't understand. I don't understand what's happening. Like, I don't know the logic of why this story has progressed this way. I don't know. But it's also just annoying that they're having like the third act conflict right now, and it's so stupid because it's like Bella obviously does not want Edward or the Cullens to leave, and Edward is just completely ignoring that and just being like, no, actually I don't want you. And I know that he does. Like, he does want her to be there. He wants to be with her all the time, but to protect her he has to like pretend like he doesn't love her anymore to make her not, I don't know. Did he think that would soften the blow? Because it definitely didn't work. I don't know. I don't understand. But he's just acting super distant, and then he broke up with her basically because they had to leave. And he was like, you can't come with us. And she was like, but I want to. I really want to. And I don't care if I lose my soul, and when I become a vampire, I want to lose my soul in order to be with you. Which that was like a little extreme. But like, you know, I feel like it's kind of easy to judge her. Like, I know why people would find her cringy or unrealistic or something, but I don't want to judge people that are in love. I don't know. Love can make you do crazy things. Like want to become a blood-sucking creature in order to be with the one you love for the rest of your immortal life. I don't know. Who am I to judge? Maybe I would do that for the person I love. I don't know. He's not a blood-sucking vampire, so I don't have to decide that. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep on reading. I probably need to take a chore break. I need to do some stuff around the house. I'm hoping to at least read 300 pages of this today in order to finish the series this week. So that is the plan that I will hopefully accomplish. So yeah, I'll let you guys know when I have another update. Hey guys, so a lot has happened since I last talked to you. I am just about halfway through. Oh, okay. Yep. He is such an attention hog, and I give it to him every time. Yeah, a lot has happened since I updated you guys last, but among other things, Jacob and Bella's relationship has blossomed. Their friendship, should I say. I don't know how much I blame Bella for the way that she's acting, because she was in a very dark place, and Jacob is helping her out of it. Oh. And honestly, I've been in a similar position where it's like, I don't want to play with the guy's feelings, but I really enjoy hanging out with him, and it's like, I can kind of understand. So at least she's like considering the fact that she might be playing with his feelings, and she like wants to spare him from that. So it's good at least that she's thinking about it, and that she's like, oh my gosh, this isn't good. Like, I really need to make it clear that I don't like him that way. But like, he still does, and it hurts. It hurts me. I feel for Jacob. I very much feel for Jacob, and I don't want him to get hurt because he is great. And Taylor Lautner's hot, but that's completely besides the point. But other than that, Bella has been a complete adrenaline junkie because she wants to experience Edward, I guess. So far, she has said that she wants to go cliff jumping. She hasn't yet, but I'm pretty sure that might happen. But she wants to chase things like that, and she picked a motorcycle to want to fix up and ride solely because it is super dangerous and adrenaline-y to ride one. So that's very interesting of her to be doing, and I'm pretty sure Jacob just made his transformation to werewolf. since I know that spoiler, I can tell that that's what's happening. He's avoiding Bella, saying that he's sick, and she hasn't seen him in a while, and then she was just attacked by a vampire in the woods, and one of the wolves that came to help her, like, looked straight at her, and I'm like, that's Jacob. He's kneading my sweater, and it's honestly kind of painful because my skin's under that, honey. He don't care. I have about 100 pages left to go, and so I'm gonna try to get through that before I go to bed tonight, but I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. Hi, good morning, guys. It is now Monday morning, so I have been reading Twilight for... Did I start on Friday? I can't remember. But anyway, I have made a lot of progress through New Moon. I am exactly 300 pages into it, actually, because as soon as I hit the 300 page mark, I was falling asleep, and so I just conked out after that. But a lot has happened. It is confirmed that Jacob has turned into a werewolf. Turned into, or just like, he aged into it. I guess there's a lot of boys in his tribe that when they get to a certain age, they just, like, I don't know, metamorphosis into a werewolf. Metamorphosis is definitely a verb. So that happened to him, and it kind of made me sad because he completely changed, not just physically, but like he seemed a lot less happy, or like Bella was describing that he just looked like angry all the time, and I was like, oh, that's so sad. He, like, it ruined his personality too. That kind of sucks. Maybe not completely ruined, because there have been some scenes where he's like really sweet and all that, but yeah, it is kind of sad that he's not the same Jacob anymore. But it is cool that he can now turn into a massive dog. So that's pretty cool. I don't think I have anything else to say. Oh yeah, Bella also like jumped off a cliff, but like alone and during a storm. So as if the cliff jumping wasn't dangerous enough, she had to almost die. So that sucks, but Jacob saved her, so we're all good. Jacob's really coming in clutch nowadays with Bella's tendencies. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna finish this up today and hopefully start on, what's the next one? Eclipse. And hopefully start on Eclipse today also. I'm assuming there's a lot that's gonna happen in the ending, because that's usually how books go, so I will talk about that next time I see you guys. Bye. See you then. Oh my god. This is so screwed up. I now know why they keep on referencing Romeo and Juliet. Edward thinks that Bella's dead, and so he's gonna kill himself. Oh my word. Jacob answered the phone in their house and he thought it was Carlisle, but it was actually Edward, and he asked where Charlie was, and Jacob said he was at the funeral because one of Charlie's friends died, but he thinks he meant Bella. So he thinks Bella's dead, and so he's gonna kill himself. Oh my gosh. I thought you couldn't kill yourself if you're a vampire. I'm trying to remember what he said about that. He said there was a way, but I can't remember what the way was. Oh my gosh. That is so messed up. But that's kind of cool that they've been like referencing Romeo and Juliet this whole time, and now it's like, it's actually, I mean, I know they're both gonna survive, but that is so, that's terrible. Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading, but that's just crazy. I know I just updated, but I remember now because it said that there's like powerful vampires in Italy or whatever, and they will like kill you if you provoke them or like do something that they don't like, and so I think that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna go to Italy and like provoke this powerful vampire family so that they kill him, and that's the way he's gonna like commit suicide. So they have to stop it. That's kind of crazy, honestly. Hello again, I'm back and I finished New Moon, the second book in the saga, and man, a lot of this book was just like depression upon more depression. It's just like this whole section was all just like gloomy and gray and depressing and empty, and so I mean, I didn't hate it. I just liked the first book better because I don't love reading about just like being super depressing and like honestly kind of suicidal. I feel like, yeah, it wasn't like super fun to read about, but like it also wasn't horrible. Like I didn't hate my experience reading this, and when Jacob came in, it kind of offered a ray of sunshine in the middle of the gloom and the gray, but then even that turned depressing. So that sucks. Like I'm really sad now that I've got to the end and they've kind of had their falling out, and when she was like, you promised, like we need to stay friends, like we're still friends, right? And he's like, no. And I was like, oh, my heart. It's so sad. I'm kind of like, Jacob, come on, man. Like, is it really that important to, is that kind of loyalty really that important in the werewolf world? I don't know. Like, you can't even be friends with I don't know. Maybe it is that important. Maybe it's not his fault. I don't know, but that's just depressing to me. Anyway, about the ending of the book, I feel like it came out of left field. Like it was such a like burst of really sudden action, like right after a whole lot of depression and like nothing. And so I was kind of like, oh my gosh, we have to go save Edward from killing himself and whatever. So that was pretty wild. Basically, just like a brief explanation, the super powerful family in Italy will kill anyone, any vampire that reveals themselves to humans. And so Edward's plan was to reveal himself to humans, was to go out into the sun with all of his sparkly marble skin and have everyone see him, and then that would be a crime punishable by death in their standards. So that was how he was planning to commit suicide, even though it's not easy to do that as a vampire. So that was insane. I feel like, I don't know, this is just me, but I feel like if the obsession of your relationship is so strong that you are willing to kill yourself, if the other person is gone, I don't know if that's healthy. Like, even married couples don't go that far. I mean, I'm sure some have. I don't know. I feel like healthy relationships would just kind of like mourn, obviously, and then kind of move on with their life because that's what's healthy, I guess. I don't know. So, I don't know. That's just, it's fiction. So, it's not completely realistic. It's not totally, you know what I mean? I just kind of thought that that wasn't super great for them to be doing. I mean, obviously, that goes without saying. But overall, I have positive feelings about this book and this series so far. I mean, again, I still have 2 super thick books to go through, and I don't really know a whole lot of what the story's gonna be after that. I know they have to get married because Edward was just talking about that at the end, and I was like, I love marriage. Yeah, so that was really sweet. And I am kind of, I don't know, like they're dragging out making Bella a vampire so much. I didn't realize that it like took that long for her to become one. I kind of, in my head, it happened kind of soon. So I must be misremembering that. But yeah, so I'm excited for that to finally happen because there's so much build up for that and for them to get married and all that stuff. But that doesn't seem like enough content to fill up 2 books over 500 pages. So yeah, we'll see what else happens. But I want to get into Eclipse today. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to read. I hope at least 100 or so, 200 or so pages. That is my hope. I'm not super busy for the rest of the day, so hopefully that will happen. I don't know, something could come up last minute, but that is my plan, so I'm going to get into that, and I will see you guys when I have another update. Realized something. I didn't realize that the werewolves weren't werewolves until vampires were around. That's very interesting. It's like something in their blood or in their, I don't even know, like it reawakens that part of them as soon as vampires come into their proximity, I guess, which I didn't realize before. I thought like Billy and all those other people had a season where they were werewolves. But apparently there was like a few generations where none of them turned into werewolves, and then as soon as the Cullens came back, that's when Sam became one, and then one by one all the other boys became one until Jacob. So that's interesting. I don't know exactly what I was thinking before, but that is interesting. I misunderstood something about New Moon, or I had like a theory that proved to be wrong. But I thought all of Bella's hallucinations was somehow like Edward could do that with his power, because he can like read minds, but I was wondering if he could like, I don't even know. I feel kind of stupid. I don't fully understand his power. I thought that he maybe could project himself into another person's mind, like maybe make them think what he wants them to think, but that's like not like mind control, but like, you know, maybe cause hallucinations. I don't know. That would make him way more powerful, actually, now that I'm thinking about that, now that I'm like saying it out loud. That definitely couldn't have worked out, but that's kind of what I thought. But apparently they were actually Bella hallucinating. But they were very true to life hallucinations, so I just assumed that they were so true to life that they were actually kind of real and she wasn't imagining them. So I feel kind of dumb for that, but yeah, whatever. I'm also kind of getting annoyed with Edward because he's being so territorial. I feel like Jacob's kind of getting there too. They haven't had any scenes together yet, Jacob and Bella, but I feel like they're just gonna get so territorial over Bella, and it's gonna be like kind of That's what I hate about love triangles, is both the men are like trying to stake their claim, and I don't know, like Edward's not even letting her like visit Jacob, even though he's like in a horrible state of mind and like they're best friends basically. He's just like, nope, no werewolves, sorry, like not letting her go anywhere near them. And I'm just like, oh, this is painful. And I'm sure like Jacob's gonna be the same way, or like he even was in New Moon, was just like, no, stay away from the vampire, stay away. I'm just like, why can't she do both? I guess I don't know. It's just rubbing me the wrong way. I don't know any solutions. I don't know how to fix that really, but I just know I don't like that both the men are being so territorial. Yeah, I can't think of another word for that. And I don't know if it just means that Edward has a hard time trusting Bella, or if he just purely just doesn't like werewolves. I don't know. But those are just my thoughts right now after finishing just a single chapter. Hey guys, so I'm gonna be honest, I'm struggling a little bit. The beginning of this book is so slow. I mean, I'm only 54 pages in, but there's like nothing interesting happening. It's just like Edward and Bella talking about where to go for college, and Charlie being on Bella's butt and like grounding her every other second. I'm just like, what's happening? And honestly, Edward is, I don't know how to say it. Edward is taking a very weird turn with his obsessiveness over Bella. I'm like, dude, get a hobby, get a life, find something else that you can put your mind on. He literally went down to Bella's house at night and took a part out of her car so she couldn't use her car, so that she couldn't go down to the res and visit Jacob. Like at night, went out of his way to do that. I was like, boy, I think you have problems. So I don't know, am I reading into that too much? I feel like that's just obsessive in a bad way. Very possessive, especially for a couple that has made no vows of marriage or like anything like that. I might be able to understand him being more interested in what Bella is doing and who Bella's talking to if they were married, but they're not. And so I'm just kind of like, okay, you can't, you're not, she doesn't belong to you. He's literally forcing her not to visit Jacob. I don't know, maybe she shouldn't be visiting Jacob, but he definitely shouldn't be forcing her not to. Doesn't feel good, my guys, doesn't feel good. But anyway, I'm gonna try really hard to get back into this. I just can't, nothing's grabbing my attention. It's just like, I don't care where you go to college. I don't care. I don't care if you visit Florida. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Just one more update before I go to sleep, but I made it about over a quarter of the way through, probably like 30% of the way through on page 160. I'm gonna try to keep it down because it's kind of late, but not a whole lot has happened. It's definitely gotten more interesting. Still a lot of drama with Jacob and Edward. They just really provoke each other a lot, and it's so childish and it's really annoying. And I'm kind of done with it. It is super annoying that there was like a whole chapter called Switzerland where Bella was trying to say that she was neutral ground, just like Switzerland. Let me be friends with both of you guys. You don't have to like each other, but let me be friends with you. Stop being so freaking territorial. And honestly, Edward, by the end of this chapter that I just finished, Edward is coming around, but the timing isn't great because she just had a huge argument with Jacob where he blew up about her becoming a vampire sooner than he thought. So that ain't good. So yeah, I don't know. There's just so much drama with that. It's so much back and forth. I don't know how much more I can take. Honestly, I mean, it is entertaining, to say the least. Also, this cover confuses me because there was a whole bit at the end of New Moon where they were in Italy and everyone was wearing red and there was like red ribbons and stuff. And so now I'm gonna forever think that the red ribbon cover means New Moon. So that's just confusing. I don't know the significance of these covers super well. I know there's red in all the covers, but I don't know why, exactly what all the symbols represent. I kind of get the apple because it's like Adam and Eve, kind of like temptation. I don't know. Maybe someone can explain it to me. I don't understand the significance of the red leaf on front of New Moon, and now I don't understand the significance of this because it's a ribbon, and I would have thought that was like from the festival that they were at in Italy where everyone was wearing red. So I don't understand. Also, I wonder what the action is going to be like for these, because in the past 2 books there's been a little bit of action at the end, but it's all so subverted. Like there's build up where they're trying to escape from James in book 1, and then all the action is so subverted. Like she just passes out as soon as James like throws her into a wall or whatever happened there, and then she wakes up and the action is done. And then in New Moon she was rushing and rushing and rushing to get Edward to not kill himself, and then as soon as she got there they just like had a conversation with the Volturi, I think that's how you pronounce that, with the royal vampires. They just had like a big conversation, and I was like, this is kind of like the climax of the book. I can kind of see why the movie would be making those a little more dramatic, even if it's not accurate to what happened in the book. Because I feel like a lot of this story, it just lends itself so well in book form. So that's kind of why I'm liking this so much better than I liked the movies, because the movies, just when you add all of the different factors of cinematography and acting and even the lighting, like I remember the first movie was so blue and it made me like, why? But when you take all of those other elements out and you have it in its original form, how it was originally supposed to be digested, I don't know, I just like it so much more. I feel like it's so much less, I mean, it's less cringy first of all, but then it's also just how it was originally supposed to happen. And also Bella is so much better in these books, honestly. Like, I'm just, the way I'm picturing her saying the dialogue, just like with so much emotion and all this stuff, I'm just like, it seems like a real person, like someone I can actually read 4 long books about. Like, she's not the most interesting of main characters for sure, but like she's at least not a blank piece of gray paper like she is in the movies. I don't know, I don't know that I love Kristen Stewart's portrayal of Bella, having read the books. Like, I kind of just thought she was that way originally in the books, and so she was doing a fine portrayal, but now that I've read them, I'm like, she kind of took all the life out of Bella. I don't know, maybe I need to rewatch the movies again to see what she was actually like, but to me, I'm just like, girl, you could have done a lot better with that role, especially, like, she's not a bad actress. I don't know why she chose to do it that way. Maybe I'm rambling just a little bit. I'm kind of could have done so much better. That's just my thinking. Yeah, I think I'm good. I'm pretty content with 30%. I will hopefully finish all of it tomorrow, but I will update you guys in the morning. Morning, guys. So just a short little update. I just wanted to say I'm really concerned that Charlie is gonna die. If Charlie dies, I will be very, very sad, because I kind of like Charlie, even though he is kind of a jerk to Edward and is biased towards Jacob. Call me crazy, but I kind of like him and I don't want him to die because there is a vampire that apparently just visited Bella's room while she was gone, and whoever it was could have eaten Charlie if he felt like it, just like done it. And I'm like, that's concerning. I'm with Bella on this one. I really think they should change her really soon so that she can get Charlie out of danger. I don't know why they're stalling so much, but I need to leave soon to babysit my nephew. If he's sleeping or something, I can read while I'm babysitting him, but I need to leave in a few minutes. But yeah, I just want to say I will be very concerned for Charlie's life. So we have made it to the halfway mark. Very exciting. So this book has a lot of backstory in it, which I appreciate. We have heard Rosalie's backstory, we've had the backstory of how the werewolves came to be, and then now we just got the backstory of Jasper, which is really intriguing. All of the stories are really intriguing. They're just long, and there have been several scenes, including those in this book, that I'm like, it could have been 2 sentences, but you stretched it out for pages. I feel like it's kind of obvious that the author was trying to reach a page count, or like trying to make it longer, which would be fine, except I'm someone that's trying to get this book done in a short period of time, and I just don't appreciate it. Like, this is a very good story, this is very intriguing, I like learning about Jasper, but does it have to have this much detail? And like, I don't know. So that's just one qualm I'm having with it right now, but it's very, very interesting. I feel like the world of the vampires just keeps on expanding, which is cool, because in the first book we didn't get a whole lot, so it feels like it's doing the appropriate job of sequels to expand upon the universe and just how everything else works. So I definitely appreciate that, but also someone's building an army of newborn vampires, because newborn vampires are like stronger than older ones, and so someone's building an army of those and like letting them loose in Seattle, and the Cullens are like, oh my gosh, we have to like go, we have to stop them, we have to fight them, we need allies and stuff. Oh no, the allies don't want to help. Okay, then it's just gonna be us. Oh, but some of us are gonna die. And I'm just like, guys, Bella's right there. I don't know if they're gonna think of that. Like, Bella, if you make her a vampire, she's gonna be newborn and she's gonna be super strong, which will be very helpful. So, you want to do that, or are you just like super set on just like stalling for dramatic effect as long as possible? I don't know, this seems kind of obvious. I don't know. If you need newborn vampires, Bella is right there. That's all I'm saying. So I don't know if that's gonna happen, or if they're gonna wait even longer for her to become one, but I'm just kind of like, y'all. Anyway, yeah, so we're at the halfway point, but I'm really sleepy, so I'm trying to get through it. We'll see how that goes. Jacob just told Bella that he was in love with her, and then he kissed her. And like when she was still fighting to get him off, he wasn't stopping. Oh my gosh. And then she punched him in the face and it broke her hand. What is this? Jacob, what the freak is wrong with you, bro? He wants her and like is okay with the fact that she's in love with someone else because he'll just like kiss her anyway. I'm so confused, man. Jacob was, I liked him, and now I'm like, what is wrong with you? That's like, I don't know, that's assault, right? Or something along those lines. I mean, I know I wouldn't have liked that. Oh man, that's wild. Y'all, this drama is wild. Dude, this pissed me off. Jacob came back, and Charlie's like, oh, why is Bella mad? And he's like, oh, she thinks she broke her hand. And he's like, why? And he's like, cause she hit me, cause I kissed her. And he's like, good for you, kid. Charlie does not give a crap about Edward and Bella's relationship. It is so wild. He's just like completely disregarding it. And then she called Edward and she's saying like, I need Carlisle to fix my hand. I broke it because I hit Jacob. And Edward's like, nice. And then he was like, why'd you punch him? And she was like, he kissed me. And then it just says, all I heard on the other end of the line was the sound of an engine accelerating. So I'm just picturing him going like, what did he do? He kissed me. He's just like, oh hell no. Just, I don't know why I just thought that was funny. I'm sorry. This drama is going crazy. I think they're gonna like fight it out or something. I don't know. I'm sorry, but I am living for this dialogue right now. Oh man. Edward walked Bella to his car and then he turns to Jacob and it says, Edward spoke in a voice so peaceful and gentle that it made the words strangely more threatening. I'm not going to kill you now because it would upset Bella. Huh. I grumbled. Edward turned slightly to throw me a quick smile. His face was still calm. It would bother you in the morning, he said. Then he turned back to Jacob. But if you ever bring her back damaged again, and I don't care whose fault it is, I don't care if she merely trips, or if a meteor falls out of the sky and hits her in the head. If you return her to me in less than the perfect condition that I left her in, you'll be running with 3 legs. Do you understand that, mongrel? And then Jacob rolls his eyes and Edward says, and if you ever kiss her again, I will break your jaw for her. And then Jacob's like, what if she wants me to? You wish, I grumbled. Yes, he does. Edward murmured. Oh, I'm living for it. The drama is crazy. Okay, so we are now like 3/4 of the way through and I have thoughts. So the werewolves and the vampires are working together to fight the newborn army. So I'm glad that that's working out for them and they're finally kind of resolving their differences a little bit. After this, they're probably gonna go back to being enemies, but it's nice that they have a truce for now. I have thoughts though about Bella and Edward's relationship. So Edward is agreeing to her becoming a vampire on the condition that she'll marry him. And I think that was very sweet for him to say that and like have that as a condition. But she is so against the idea of marrying early. Like she's early as in before 30. And she's like, because she's been raised that way. Her mom has been like teaching her whole life, like, no, you can't get married before you're 30. Mature people wait till they have their careers under wraps and all that, or like they have their career well underway. And I personally don't really believe that. And so when I was just like seeing her reaction to the idea of marrying, she was just like, ooh, marriage, like, ooh. Every time Edward says something about that, like, ooh, the word fiance, ooh, a ring, no, don't give me a ring. I was kind of like, girl, that's sad, because I love marriage. I don't know, it's so sweet. I love when that happens in books. So I was just like, dude, why is this your reaction? This is terrible. And I know it's because she was raised that way, but I was kind of like, oh, that's really sad. And Edward is old-fashioned. He doesn't want to, oh, hi kitty. He doesn't want to let Bella and him sleep together before they're married because he wants to like protect her virtue. And for me, I feel like that's super respectful. That's very gentlemanly. But for her, she was like, oh my gosh, that's so, of all the ridiculous things, like so old fashioned. Like, I'm just like, this is a huge green flag. What are you talking about? He wants to protect your virtue. She's just like super adamant, wants to sleep with him like so bad. And he's like, we need to wait till we're married. And she's just like, oh my gosh, you're ridiculous. She's so old fashioned. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, this is sweet. Shadow wants to say hi to the camera. Do you want to say hi, baby? But anyway, those are my thoughts right now. I feel like Edward is being really sweet about that, and I don't really get Bella's aversion to the idea of marriage. She's just like, just hates it whenever he brings it up, which kind of makes me sad. But anyway, I'm gonna keep reading and I'll update you guys later. here, guys. So a lot has happened since we last spoke. I only have like 30 pages left, so I'm almost done with the book, but a lot has happened since we last spoke. The last thing that happened, I believe, was that Edward proposed to Bella, and since then Edward and Jacob went through a lot of shenanigans to protect her. They had her hiding in a tent on the top of a snowy mountain, and it was very cold, and Edward can't warm her up, so Jacob had to like sleep with Bella to warm her up so she wouldn't freeze to death. So that was dramatic. Jacob and Edward had a lot of interesting conversations while they thought Bella was asleep. So that was very interesting. Lots of spicy drama, which was smart of the author to put in there, I guess, for that effect. And then the next morning they had the battle thing, and Jacob was like on his way to go do that, and then Edward and Bella were having a conversation, and he mentioned like, oh, you agreed to marry me, right, Bella, whatever. That was like part of the conversation. And then they hear like a grieving like howl in the woods, and it's Jacob, because like he just heard that Bella and Edward are gonna get married, and he's like wrecked or something, I don't even know. And Bella was like, oh my gosh, Edward, you knew he was listening and you said that on purpose. And so she has to like rush into the woods to get Jacob and like explain to him or something like, oh, you shouldn't have found out that way. And he was so dramatic that he was like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna go like die in battle, because I don't know, like what kind of a reaction is that? I don't know. He's just like, he wants to die, I guess, instead of not be with Bella. I'm not really sure what that logic jump was. But then she got so scared that he was gonna go and basically commit suicide by like dying in battle that she was like, no, Jacob, kiss me. And maybe I need to like go back and reread that scene or something to understand how the heck all of that jumping happened for all of them. Yeah, I don't get it. So he kissed her. I guess it was her attempt to like try and keep him alive, or like keep his will to live alive. And yeah, so they kissed, and then like she has this whole inner monologue thing while they're kissing where she's like, oh my gosh, he's been right this entire time, because Jacob has been saying like, oh, she's in love with me too, she just doesn't know it. And like while they're kissing, she like has this inner monologue where she's just like, oh my gosh, she's been right all along. This is horrible. I love him back, like romantically. Oh man, I don't know. This is such a mess. And she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Like, and then she has like this like vision of her alternate future where she's married to Jacob, and she's like living on the reservation, and she has kids. Which I'm like, oh, like she can't have kids if she marries Edward. Wait a minute. I just remembered something from the movies that I can't believe I forgot. Doesn't she get a kid at some point? How does that happen? Doesn't she have a kid? I thought vampires could have kids. I don't know. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I forgot that because of the CGI baby. The CGI baby. How could I forget the freaking CGI baby? Another reason why the books are sure to be better than the movies, because there's no freaking CGI to make a baby look like... What were they thinking? Well, okay, that'll be an adventure, figuring out how the heck Bill and Edward are gonna have a kid. But anyway, yeah, so she like has all of that inner monologue, all of that stuff going on in her little head while she's making out with Jacob, like hardcore in the woods, while she's like engaged to another man. I'm like, girl, she is 2-timing to the max, and she knows it, so because she goes and she has like a pity party in the tent being like, I'm the worst person ever. And then Edward, he like reads Jacob's mind, so he knows about it. And he's so weirdly understanding about all of it. He's like, yeah, I get it. It's the consequence of me leaving you and you needing to like seek comfort from someone else. Like Jacob stitched you up after I left you bleeding, so that's bound to leave some consequences. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, but like why are you not more pissed that like Bella willingly kissed another man and is like realizing that she's in love with him when you're supposed to be getting married? That's a problem. Are you not realizing that's a problem? Oh my gosh, I'm like, am I supposed to be sitting here being like, oh my gosh, Edward is such a like understanding sweet man? I'm like, no, where's all the territorialism now? Like you were so intent on her not even seeing him before, and now that they're making out in the woods, you're like, oh, I understand. What? Okay, anyway, that doesn't make any sense to me. Still questioning all of that. But then the action sequence started, and it was actually a lot more action than it's been in the past 2 books, because like I said, the action in the past 2 books, like the climax, has been so totally subverted, or that there was this huge buildup, and then as soon as it came, it was just like they dropped the ball. In the first book, Bella was knocked out for the entire action sequence. In the second book, they just had like a whole conversation with the Volturi. And now we actually got to see a piece of the action, which was pretty exciting. We got to see Edward fight Victoria, finally get her. I can't believe that she's been a threat for like 2 books. She seemed like such a minor threat, and it's been 2 books and we finally got rid of her, so that's a relief. But it's cool that the werewolves and vampires were fighting together, like how Seth was there fighting alongside Edward. I thought that was really cool, and they had like a little fist bump at the end. I was like, cute. But then Jacob got hurt at the end and Bella passed out, and now she woke up and she found out that Jacob's okay. I think she's gonna go visit him, and that's where I left off. So yeah, there's not a lot left. I'm gonna turn on some football and finish the rest of this freaking book. Even though like there's some stuff here that has me questioning, it might be my favorite so far, honestly, because it like it's kept me very entertained. I know that the beginning I was saying I was struggling, partly probably because I was really tired in that clip, but also like I didn't really care about all the stuff they were talking about. But pretty closely after that, I got pretty intrigued, and I also, there was a lot of questions answered in this book. Like I was saying, like we get a lot of backstory of how things work and the characters and like how they became vampires and stuff. So I've really been liking that, and the action did not subvert my expectations. I don't even know if that's the correct way of saying that word, but you know, like where there's a build up and then they just drop the ball. Like they didn't do that this time. I actually got to see some action, which I appreciate very much because I like action in books. This might be my favorite. I'm not sure yet. I haven't read Breaking Dawn, but because of those reasons, I feel like this book maybe just like the most happens, or it's the most dramatic, or it just kept me intrigued. I don't know, but I kind of have those feelings about this book. But yeah, I'm gonna finish it up. Hello again. I have finished the third book in the Twilight Saga. I can't believe I'm saying that. I still can't believe I'm reading this series, to be honest. Thoughts? I have them. I definitely have them. So cute. So I'm still like so confused about Jacob and Bella's relationship, because I don't know. It just seems like she is just in some degree okay with loving him, where she is okay with admitting it out loud to him, and like when she's leaving saying like, love you Jacob, he's like, I love you more, whatever. Like, why are you okay with saying that, girl? You're getting married. Like if I felt that way, I would just like keep it to myself. I don't know. Like do you guys know what I'm saying? Like it just makes me feel gross. If a girl has committed to getting married and wants to still get married to that man, I feel like just in general, she should not be entertaining any kind of romantic feelings for another man. I don't know. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna get married in the next book. The epilogue was in Jacob's point of view, which is interesting. But he got a letter from Edward. It's kind of like a letter saying, I don't know if you can read that, but just saying like, don't feel obligated to come, but we wanted to send you something anyway. Thank you for taking care of her. And then he said, if things had gone the other way, I would have wanted the choice, which I didn't really understand. I didn't read that a bunch of times. Like if it was him who was in love with two people, he would have wanted the choice. I guess that makes sense. But, and then Jacob like ran off into the sunset being like, I'm gonna leave Jacob Black behind. So I'm like, is he even gonna be in the next book? I don't know. It seemed like he was just so depressed about life that he just wanted to leave being a human behind forever and just be a wolf. I don't know. I don't know at this point. Yeah, so anyway, I am going to start Breaking Dawn tomorrow. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be gone for a lot of the day. And I'm kind of stressing because I really want to finish it by Friday. And it's a 600-page book. Yeah, I don't know. I'll figure it out, but I'll see you guys when I do figure it out. Hey there guys, good morning or good afternoon, because I spent all morning and afternoon at my aunt's house doing scrapbooking, and now I have to read, like, I wanted to read half of this, which is like 300 pages because it's like a 600-page book. This isn't where this is just my bookmark. I'm not actually there. I don't know if that's gonna be possible, quite frankly. I'm gonna try my very best. You can be sure of that. But I just read the preface, and it said something about how like, oh, I'm used to people trying to kill me, or like being in near-death experiences, or oh wait, I just realized I skipped a page. It said book 1, Bella. So like, is the next part gonna be someone else's perspective? That's interesting. But the preface is like, I'm used to monsters killing me, or like monsters trying to kill me, but what do you do when it's the loved one who's trying to kill you? And I was like, what's gonna happen to your loved ones, Bella? Are they gonna like turn on you? I really don't remember. I don't remember the movie that well, obviously, because I forgot that they even had a kid. I can't believe I forgot that. So I really don't remember a whole lot about this movie. Maybe because there was like 2 of them, right? They're like split up into 2 parts, Harry Potter and Hunger Games style. I'm excited to be surprised. I will update you guys later. Just wanted to say that I'm happy that Renee is supportive, Bella's mom. I'm happy about that because that was like part of the big reason that Bella was against marrying, and like she was so biased against it, and like, oh, he's playing with puzzle pieces. Oh, that's not good.
Don't be doing that. We can't lose those.
But anyway, yeah, so I'm glad that Renee was like, well, that was for me. I think it's okay if you marry. Like, you don't have a problem with commitment. I had the problem with commitment. So that's good that Bella is being supported with that, and hopefully it will make her feel a little bit better about the joy of marriage. So I just wanted to say that. So I am 64 pages in, and she just got married. So cute, so sweet. I'm so glad that they decided to go along with the wedding because I love weddings, I love marriage and books. It's so cute, adorable. It's really sweet that Alice planned it all. I'm like in my future wedding, I'm just, the thing I'm like most dreading is the planning, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, it'd be so nice to have someone just do it all for me so I don't have to worry about it. That'd be great. But anyway, super romantic. I loved it. And then Jacob kind of, I mean, I was happy at first that he was there, but then he made a big fuss about how they were going to like sleep together that night without her being a vampire, and he was like, oh my gosh, you're gonna kill her. I don't know. Edward is like, oh my gosh, maybe he's right. And Bella's like, no, he's not. Be quiet. I want to do this. For whatever reason, she's very set on doing it before she changes. She wants to have that human experience, they keep saying. So that's interesting. But yeah, it's super cute. I'm glad that Bella realized like, oh, I'm glad I decided to do this. Like, I don't know why I was like dreading this. This is super nice. And so I was like, oh, that's good that she's realizing that. And like that along with her mom being like, no, yeah, it's great that you're getting married. And like she was like accepting it and supporting it, that like those two things kind of made it a lot better than I was expecting. So that's a relief, but I'm gonna keep reading. Hopefully, I'm kind of hungry, so I might eat soon because it's dinner time. I got such a late start. I want to read at least 200 pages today, at the very least. So yeah, I'm gonna keep reading. No friggin' way they're having their honeymoon on a private island. That's too perfect. I'm so jealous. Hi. Oh my gosh, there's like 3 lighting sources in my room, so like there's gonna be a shadow on my face like all the time. So I am like 100, almost 160 pages in, and I was surprised when Jacob has like a bunch of, like he has a whole section of his perspective, which I was not expecting. And all of his titles are cracking me up. The chapter titles are like full-on sentences. Sure as hell didn't see that one coming. It's just funny. It's cracking me up. But it's very interesting to see Bella like from an outside perspective, especially with her being in the shape that she's in right now because she's pregnant. Bruh. I still can't believe that I forgot that this happened because this is such a big part. Like, all the scenes that I'm reading, I'm like realizing how faithful the movie adaptation was to like scene by scene. Like, it's really loyal to the original source material, which is kind of crazy. But like each scene that I'm reading, I'm just like remembering all the stuff that happened in the movie, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was crazy. I mean, as soon as it was like, oh, I'm eating more than I'm normally eating, I'm like, whatever. As soon as she said that, I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. Oh my gosh, guys, it's happening. Yeah, so I was like, oh honey, you got a big storm coming. But I forgot that it was like bad for her. Like, I forgot that the pregnancy like hurt her a lot. Like, it was sucking the life out of her. But it really touched me how she was reacting to the baby. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I never like realized how amazing having a child would be. She was saying like now there was another person in her heart as much as Edward was. Like, it's not like Edward only had half her heart now. It was like her heart had expanded to twice its size. And from the accounts that I've heard of mothers who've had children, it seems like that is a faithful, or like that's an accurate description of how they feel. Or it's just like, oh my gosh, my heart has like grown to accommodate this person. It hasn't pushed everyone else to the side. It's just like grown that much more because of this child. So that's really sweet. That's really touching, and the fact that she doesn't want to kill it is also really touching. I also am confused because she seems convinced that it's gonna be a boy, but I thought I remembered the kid being a girl in the movie. I might be misremembering that, but I feel like I remember that. So she seems convinced that her child is a son because she keeps on referring to it as a him. So that would be cute. I don't know, maybe the movie like changed that, but I could have sworn it was a girl. Edward is just like so intent on taking it out because another big part of it is that he like blames himself. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was selfish enough to impregnate Bella because now she's like dying or whatever. And of course Bella doesn't feel that way because Bella loves the child already even though it hasn't been born yet. And Edward's just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've done this. Like, he totally blames himself. He didn't even know it was possible. No vampires knew it was possible because usually if a vampire got close enough to a human to impregnate them, they would just be overcome by the desire to eat them, that they would do it instead of doing it. You know what I mean? So their case is like so rare. This has never happened before. A vampire and a human have never had a baby together. And so, because it's usually impossible, or like vampire can't have a baby together. So it's like, what? This has never happened before. Like Carlisle doesn't really know what to do other than take it out, but Bella doesn't want to do that. And Rosalie is like being really sweet and like coming alongside Bella and is like, yeah, like supporting her, like, no, yeah, we can't take it out. So that's really sweet. I kind of like that. But then, oh yeah, but then he had like this conversation with Jacob. I was so confused. I was like, are you saying what I think you're saying? I think he was saying like, if Bella really wants a kid, then I will let you impregnate her if she really wants that to happen, but I just don't want her to die. Is that really what you just said? Or like, I'm confused with the wording and everything. Like, why would Edward allow that? He's like, I would rather you impregnate Bella than her die. So why don't you tell her that? Like, oh, it's okay. You can give up this baby and then I will give you a child. I don't know. Is that what he was saying? I was like, what is happening right now? That's so weird. That's such a weird solution to that problem. I would think of that. I'm being so loud right now. I just realized it's kind of late and I'm being loud. But I'm passionate about this. Or like, I feel strongly. I don't know what's happening and why they've come to this conclusion. But anyway, I think that's the last thing that happened. But this book, man, this is crazy. I'm gonna at least make it to the 200 page mark before I hit the hay tonight. I was hoping to get at least 300 pages in, but I didn't realize that I would be so busy this morning. So yep, I'm gonna get to it. Hey guys, I don't know what this book is anymore, honestly. I don't know what to say. I am almost halfway through. Page 286. Looks like this. And I mean, a lot has happened. Looks like Bella's pregnancy is like supernaturally speeding up, or like it's just gonna go a lot faster than normal pregnancies. She has like 2 weeks of growth in one day or something like that. So it's only gonna be, I don't know how to do that math, not long until she gives birth. And Jacob is on team kill the baby. It's his perspective now. And so it's like goes into detail about how he's just like so pissed off at everyone that wants to keep the baby. He's mad at Bella for being so self-sacrificing. He's mad at Rosalie for being on her side and wanting the baby to be born and stuff. He's like, it's not a baby, it's a monster, like we need to kill it. Which Edward had that opinion until just now. Edward was able to read the baby's mind because he can read other people's minds, but now he was able to read the baby's mind. He was like, oh, it likes the sound of your voice, Bella. And she was like, oh, it does, I love you, baby. And it was so cute. And Edward was like, oh, it likes the sound of my voice. And she's like, yes, of course it does. And then he was just like, it was a precious little scene. I loved it. And then Jacob was like, I realized in that moment, like, I was alone in my opinion of like wanting to kill the baby because like now everyone else like loves it. And Edward was just like, oh, the baby loves you, Bella. He loves you. He adores you. And I was like, that's so sweet. So I thought that was cute. And then Jacob freaking got so upset that he like went to a park and tried to find a girl to imprint on. Because imprinting is the thing that the werewolves have where they like, when they see a particular woman that they like, I don't know what happens, like their mind just imprints on them and then suddenly they can't like focus on any other woman. They're like just like in love with this woman. And if it happens that the person that they imprinted on is too young, then they just like, they have different feelings toward them where they're just like a big brother to them until they get old enough and then they like love them. I don't know how it works. I was kind of like, okay, that's a little weird, but like, because there's one werewolf in their pack that imprinted on a 2-year-old. It's like, it's not something you can control. Like imprinting is like something that just like happens automatically as soon as the people like come across each other for the first time. And it just so happened that this girl, when they met for the first time was a 2-year-old. So now he's just like around her all the time, like playing around with her, being like a good big brother, I guess. And then maybe when she's older, they're gonna like get married. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I try not to think about that. But anyway, Jacob broke away from his pack because he didn't want to kill Bella. And all the other werewolves were thinking like, oh, we need to kill Bella because whatever is in her stomach is like gonna be a horrible creature. For some reason, everyone thinks that the baby's gonna be a horrible creature. Like everyone is convinced it's a monster for whatever reason. So yeah, the wolves really wanted to kill it, but then Jacob really didn't want to, so he broke away from the pack. And now Seth and Leah followed him. And there's another thing about this that is like kind of getting on my nerves. I feel like a lot of the dialogue and a lot of the scenes are so drawn out, like they just keep repeating themselves over and over, and I'm like, why is this conversation still lasting this many pages? Like you're just saying the same thing over and over, like so many times. There have been just so many scenes where I'm just like, what? Why is this lasting so long? I think I mentioned this earlier where it's just like, it feels like she's trying to reach a page count. It's like this conversation could have ended so long ago, but you're still talking. Like, what is up with that? So that's been really annoying. I've been like skimming those ones where I'm just like, okay, they're just repeating themselves. I'm just like skimming. Yeah, that's been a little bit annoying, but that's pretty much all that's happening right now. It's just like so, I don't know. There's so much that is so strange I don't know how to feel. So I'm gonna keep reading, but I am, yeah, not sure how I am feeling about several things, but yeah, I'll update you guys later. He did not. Book 3. Jacob just imprinted on Bella's baby. What in the world is this book? It's like Stephanie Meyer had like jars of prompts that would make like the least sense, the most chaos, and like pick them out like, which one will I have in this chapter today? Oh, okay, Jacob's gonna imprint on the newborn baby. Perfect. Well, yeah, she gave birth and I was horrified for that entire scene. That sounded like the most horrific birth I've ever heard of. The baby like snapped every bone in her body on the way out, including her spine. And then her heart stopped and Jacob had to do CPR while Edward like injected his venom into her to try to make her a vampire. And I guess it worked because book 3 is from her perspective. Oh my word. This book is a roller coaster, man. Okay, hey, so I am on page 386. This far through, Bella is now a vampire and she seems to be very in control of herself. She seems to be able to control her thirst very well. She's not going crazy. She has a ton of self-control, which I really hope there's a good explanation for. Otherwise, it's just like, of course she has good self-control. She's freaking Bella. I feel like there's not a good enough reason as of yet for her to be that way. It just feels like plot armor or just dumb main character stuff. I don't know. Like, she's the main character. Of course she's not like other girls. Yeah, so they like went hunting and she had all of this stuff where she was hunting animals and she was like, oh, it doesn't taste as good as human blood, but whatever. And then they came back and Jacob met her and was like, okay, let's just make sure you can handle my scent and control yourself around me before you go near the baby, because this whole time she's like, where's Renesmee? Where's Renesmee? Which, by the way, that name, I don't know how I feel about it. It sounds like a weird like perfume name or something like that. Yeah, so this whole time she's been like, I want to see my baby, I want to see my daughter. And so she came back and like she could handle Jacob's smell. So they went in and everyone is super protective of the baby, even though the baby is like, I want my mom. Whatever, she's like reaching toward her. And it's only been like 2 days since she gave birth and she's already like really big, so it seems like her development is gonna be quick. Even outside of the womb, she's gonna age quickly, I suppose. And so yeah, she goes in and everyone's trying to protect her from the baby. They don't know how in control of herself she is because she just is for whatever reason. And then apparently the baby like has the ability to like touch someone and then give them a memory or something, like her own memory, like let them see a memory that she has. So that's like her gift, I guess. And then like Jacob was super protective of her, like, okay, that's good, now give her back. And that like tipped Bella off to see like, oh my gosh, he imprinted on my baby girl. And she flipped out and like they like went outside and she's like yelling at him and he's like, no, listen. He's like, this whole time, what did he say? So psychotic. He was saying like, do you remember how much you wanted to be around me 3 days ago? How hard it was to be apart from each other? That's gone from you now, isn't it? And then he said, that was her. From the very beginning, we had to be together, even then. Like him and Renesmee. Like, he had a connection with an unborn person in her mother's body still. I am so confused. Like, how is that even possible? Like, if Jacob wanted to marry Bella and they actually did get married, Renesmee would not exist. So like, why did they have that connection? I am just confused about that. I feel like that just doesn't work. The only way Renesmee would come into existence was if Bella and Edward had a baby. But like, they had a baby against like all odds, like all possible odds. It's like, what? And then she flipped because Jacob has the nickname for her as Nessie. Or is it Renesmee? It's like Nessie, I guess. And she's like,
You nicknamed my daughter after Loch Ness Monster.
and then like fights him. What is happening? What is this book? I friends. So it's pretty late now. I had a pretty busy evening, so I wasn't able to do a whole lot of reading, but I'm this far. I have about like 120 pages left, and I want to get to the point tonight where I can just like wake up tomorrow morning and just have 100 pages to read. So just speed through that real quick and then film the wrap up. So I'm probably going to read for just a few more minutes. But for the update, Renesmee is growing exponentially, and now she is probably like the size of a, they don't really describe, probably like a 6 or 7-year-old, and someone who kind of doesn't like them very much, like a vampire lady from like another tribe, saw Renesmee from far away and thought she was a vampire child, like an immortal child is what they're called, which is when vampires create children vampires, like they bite children, and then the children are like horrible creatures because they just like feast on human blood because no one suspects them. They just look super sweet until they're like eating you, and they like desecrated villages back in the day. So they're a really big deal, bad news. And someone saw Renesmee from far away and thought, oh my gosh, the Cullens have made an immortal child, and went straight to the Volturi because they're kind of like the law keepers of the vampire world, and now they know that the Volturi are gonna come for them. But I guess the solution that they have come up with is as soon as the Volturi come, they'll have a bunch of witnesses there of like other covens, other vampire covens that will like witness how Renesmee is actually not an immortal child, how she's like a one-of-a-kind, half human, half vampire kid, and will like let her be. I don't really know why they need so many witnesses. Like, that's just the solution they came up with. I'm sure they're smart and they like know what they're doing. It feels like a convoluted solution to a convoluted problem. Yeah, so where we're at right now, there's just a bunch of vampires coming from all over the world to come, and like they're all hearing Renesmee's story of how she came to be, and they all like fall in love with her because she's like a super lovable child, like supernaturally lovable, I guess. I don't know. So that's what's been happening. We're meeting a bunch of vampires with cool abilities. Like one guy literally has the ability to control the elements, like the freaking Avatar. Like that's OP as flip. What happened to just being able to regulate the emotions in the room, like Jasper? He's the Avatar. That's kind of wild. I'm trying to understand why exactly they are doing this. It's not straightforward at all. So I'm trying to understand why exactly they need like so many witnesses, just to be there for when the Volturi come for support, I guess, or maybe also to be there in case a fight breaks out. I'm hoping that's what happens because I want to see some action. I don't want the action to be diverted like it was in the first 2 books. So yeah, I'm just gonna read for a few more minutes and then head to bed because it's kind of late, because I want to be able to wake up tomorrow and read the last of it and then film my wrap up. So yes, see you tomorrow. Big climax and nothing happened. These 2 vampires are disappointed with what happened because they wanted to fight. Same, bro. I made it. Never thought I'd say this. I've read all of the Twilight series in 1 week. I'm so tired. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess to wrap up the last bit of Breaking Dawn, their final battle lasted like 2 seconds. Only 1 person died, and it was the lady vampire that like ratted on them, that saw Renesmee, and she was like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that she wasn't actually an immortal child. Like, I take full responsibility, and then they like killed her, and that was pretty brutal. But after that, there was no death. Bella just like stretched her shield because she like apparently can do that. That's her power. She stretched her shield for the whole company that they had, and so like no one's powers touched them, and so that lasted for a tiny little bit, and then Alice came back, and Alice brought with her someone just like Renesmee, someone that was born of a human woman and a vampire father. Yeah, and so that like convinced the Volturi that Renesmee was not a threat, and then they left. And that was it. So that was very anticlimactic. There was so much hype for it all. Like, Bella was convinced that Jacob and Renesmee were gonna have to like get away, escape, and like live in hiding, and so she like had these falsified documents made for them, and that was a whole shebang. And like right before the battle, everyone was like saying goodbye and like crying, and like it was very emotional. So there was so much hype for something really epic to happen, and I was getting excited. I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be a good wrap up to the series. But then nothing happened. That was very disappointing. Like, look at how much hype. Look at that. There's 600 pages of hype, and then like 10 pages it's all dispelled. Crazy. So that was not a very satisfactory ending in my opinion. But all in all, like I said at the very beginning, I enjoyed this series a lot more than I thought I would, which is to say I thought I would be like dying through it all. So I was not dying through it all. It was all very tolerable. I don't think any of the books are below a 3-star. I also don't think any of them are above a 4-star. I'm trying to decide like which ones I liked best. I thought that Eclipse was very entertaining. It was so, there was a lot of the Jacob and Edward drama in this one, so it was very like, oh my gosh. But it was like probably the most entertaining of all of them, except for the beginning. Like I said, like all that college talk, I just did not care. But the ending is the only one that had like an actual like action ending that I felt like was worthy of the hype. And then Breaking Dawn was really interesting because it had the wedding, it had all the pregnancy, it had Jacob's perspective, which I didn't love because I wasn't like, I don't know, I feel like it dragged on kind of a lot, and I didn't really care a whole lot about like the werewolf drama. But the pregnancy and all of that was super interesting, and yeah, so I think, what do I think? I also think that Twilight was like, I don't know, it wasn't very extravagant because she knew like nothing about vampires in the beginning, and it kind of just like escalated until Breaking Dawn where there was like a whole bunch of vampire stuff. So in some ways this was the most boring, and in some ways it was the most entertaining. So I have so many conflicting feelings. I really need to order my thoughts. New Moon was just depressing, so I don't think this was my favorite. New Moon was very depressing, a lot about Bella being butthurt about Edward leaving and seeking comfort in Jacob and playing with his feelings, and so I didn't love that. So I think maybe my order of favorites, let's say it's this. So New Moon, Twilight, Breaking Dawn, and then Eclipse. Because it's hard to judge this series based off of quality. Because I would not say this is a quality series. There are some things that I liked, some things that I thought were nice and emotional, but like most of it was just stuff happening and lots of hype and then it getting dispelled and then all this stuff. Like a lot of lore. So I don't know that like quality-wise, like character quality-wise and stuff, it was very good. Edward was just giving me like Tamlin vibes from ACOTAR in Eclipse. Like he was super controlling and all of that stuff, and so I was just kind of, I don't think the relationship is super model that anyone should like strive for a Edward and Bella-esque relationship, but like it was entertaining for the most part, and so I would say yeah, this is my order. I would probably say New Moon is 3-star, maybe Twilight and Breaking Dawn are both 3.5, and then Eclipse is 4-star. I would probably say that. So yes, anyway, thank you so much for coming along on my Twilight journey, being exposed to it for the first time, at least for the books. I will say, as I was reading, my memories were coming back of all the scenes in the movies. It seems like they were so accurate. Like the scenes that they did include were very similar to how they're described in the books. I don't know, I guess I would say like the books, Bella's a lot more tolerable. It's a lot less cringy because the cinematography is what made it a whole lot cringier. And so if you're too cringed out by the idea of watching Twilight, then maybe you should read them because it's pretty much the same content. Almost. Obviously there's more like you can understand the world better if you read the books. The exposition is explained a lot better, but otherwise the movies are fine, I guess. A fine way to go because the scenes that they do include are very accurate. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to comment on your thoughts of Twilight, what you think of my thoughts, and maybe say what your favorites are, what your favorite parts of the series are, if you do like Edward and Bella's relationship, or if you wished, I don't know, maybe there's a fraction of you that wish you'd end up with Jacob, even though Jacob is actually in love with her daughter. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'm sure you have a lot, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Make sure to ring the notification bell if you want to be notified next time I post. I hope it'll be pretty soon. I have good videos lined up for you guys, so be excited. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.